Hello, Atlanta Real Estate Nation, and welcome to the one and only Atlanta Real Estate Podcast. We're bringing you the insider tips, tricks, and secrets to buying, selling, or investing in Metro Atlanta. Are you ready? Let's go! All right. Hey, everybody. This is the Atlanta Real Estate Podcast. This is episode 7. How's the Atlanta Real Estate Nation doing today? And, well, welcome. You can't talk to me. If you're listening, you could talk to me. But anyway, Oleg and Brad, my co-host, maybe you guys need a host today.
Good morning.
Doing?
Good morning.
Good to see you guys. Busy week this week?
Good week. Closing, good smooth closings.
Oh, smooth closings are always the best closings.
Yeah, the back-to-back closings. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. We have crazy closings coming up that were not smooth.
Oh, you mean this Friday?
Yeah, this Friday. Yeah, 75 days or something of nightmare lender
Yes.
craziness.
And no one calls us back.
Nobody, yeah, right. Nobody returns our phone call. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
The customer service in our business, I mean, when it's the people that really nail it, they really do nail it. But I've never seen so many poor setups for lenders, these fly-by-night lenders that are out there. So
It's what makes you stand out, either for the good or for the bad, right?
you know, yeah, you got it. That's a great point. So anyway, I know if we've got a crazy week in real estate, there's got to be some crazy stories. Who's got a crazy story to tell?
I got one for you.
Because I think our listeners like crazy real estate stories. Go for it,
yeah?
Brad. Tell us what you got.
Crazy real estate story real quick. We just had a closing this past week. And closing went great. It's nice and smooth. But right after closing, driving down the road, phone rings. It is my client.
Oh, man, that's never good. A great closing, super easy, and all of a sudden, ring, ring.
Well, maybe he just called to say thank you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Nice guy.
We have those happen quite often.
We do.
Well, what the phone call was my client had just remembered he had left something on site. The house was cleaned out. The new buyers were on the way over there with their children, and he said he realized he had left 2 live cannonballs from the Civil War in his outbuilding.
Whoa.
That's dangerous.
That
Yeah.
is dangerous. I mean, in our defense, right, our client is almost 90.
Yep.
So
But still, those are cannonballs.
Yeah.
we're not talking swimming pool cannonballs, right?
No.
Okay.
No Civil War cannonballs out there. So, of course, I get right on the phone with the buyer's agent and let them know what's going on. And we go all the way from we think we're going to have the bomb squad out there to all kind of good stuff. Remember, guys, this was a smooth closing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, man. Everything turned out okay?
Everything turned out good. Turned out to be that somebody went over and did a lot of cleaning around the house, and apparently they liked the cannonballs. So when we checked it out, they were no longer on property.
Well, man, I got to tell you, that's an explosive situation you got going on there.
2 of them.
Wow.
Well, hey, Father's Day is coming up this week, guys. Happy Father's Day to you. Early.
Happy Father's Day to you.
What's the coolest Father's Day gift you ever got, Oleg?
Personal note from my daughter and my son. She can't really write yet. She's 4.
Oh.
But she scribbled something and drew a beautiful picture. And Jonathan, my son, he drew something, and that was the best present ever.
Awesome. How about you, Brad?
Yeah, I'll ditto that, Oleg. Same thing. I used to do a good bit of traveling, and I was not at home for Father's Day a good bit, and I would open up a suitcase once I got where I was going, and there would be a note, which, money can't buy. And all those notes are still tucked away from past years.
Yeah, same here. I mean, my kids, they got me a framed little poem one time. I think my wife must have picked it out, but it sits next to my sink, and I look at it every day. So happy Father's Day to the Atlanta Real Estate Podcast Nation.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, and hope you have a great one. And, to celebrate, you should go buy a house. So give us a call.
Well, if they're gonna call us, you need to probably give the number out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can reach us at atlantarealestatepodcast.com or by phone at 770-240-9949. And today we're going to cover in 15 minutes or less. Believe it or not, this is the second take. I don't mind disclosing that we didn't want to publish the first one. This is the second take of the purchase and sale agreement. We're going to just kind of really quickly highlight the purchase and sale agreement that is in the and that most agents will use in the state of Georgia. It's created by the Georgia Association of Realtors and some attorneys, And they've done a really great job of protecting buyer, seller, broker, and agent. That's really hard to do, but they've done a very good job of making that an equal thing. And if you're buying new construction, add builder in there as well. So here's the deal. We're going to go over it. We're going to talk about it real quick and maybe give you some tips and tricks that you may not know. So first thing about the purchase and sale agreement is you've got this the property identification. You have to identify the property. So Brad, tell me what you're going to have in there on property identification.
Well, you're just identifying the property with the property address, city, county, zip, but that's not going to be enough to make this contract legal.
Oh, really? Tell me about that.
Well, you're jumping on down to the next one, the legal description. Anytime you write a contract, you are going to have the property identification address, but you're going to have the legal description. Either it's going to be attached, or you're going to choose the deed book and page number, or you're going to choose 3, which is the land lots, etc., just to be detailed.
Now, I remember from real estate school that you cannot just use an address. Right? I mean,
that's correct.
For some reason, it's either not a valid contract or enforceable, or both valid or enforceable. I forget all that stuff.
A contract is void without a legal description.
Oh, okay. Let me play devil's advocate because I like to do that. I'm going to go buy Brad's house, and I'm just a regular buyer, and he's a regular seller, right? And I'm going to go buy his house, and I put the real estate, put the address there, and I give him earnest money, everything, and we kind of walk down the road to closing. Can we still close a property with just an address?
You possibly could.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
if there are issues, then either party could possibly get out.
Get out of the contract because it's not really valid anyway.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
But if both are willing to close, then you'll still have closing.
Yeah. And there's a lot. I heard an attorney say one time there are so many deals that close because of the intent of the parties. And bad contracts that still close because everybody wants to close.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. What else is on there? So we got legal description. Oh, legal description, man. I don't. If I'm a Joe Public, I don't know what the legal description is. What is that?
Well, legal description is actually what and how it appears in the county records in a deed.
Oh, like a deed book or something.
Right. Well, under the legal description in a purchase and sales agreement, you have 3 options that you can choose from.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know if we should dive into those.
No. Let's keep it simple. But
very popular option is just to mark item 3 and have the land lot filled in from the tax records.
Okay.
That appears in the county.
So when we say the tax records, we can go to Cobb. Let's say in Cobb County, we can go to Cobb County, and we can go down to the records room, which is seems to be 15 feet below the surface of the earth. Nobody ever goes down there.
Smelly.
Right? Yeah, very smelly, kind of old and musty because there's stuff in there from I guess when Cobb County was formed, right? You would think.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's probably some super old documents down there. Okay, so and you go down there and you can get the deed book and page number.
You could.
And it's also on the internet.
In the county, yes.
Yeah, in the county records. You can go to CobbSuperiorCourtClerk.com or something like that. Google Cobb Superior Court Clerk. And usually the Superior Court is the one that houses the records in the state of Georgia, at least based on my experience. It may not always be that way in every county, but you can. Most of that stuff is online. Okay, simple one. Purchase price. What's the purchase price?
Well, the price on the purchase and sales agreement, the purchase price is the price you're offering to purchase the house for.
Yeah, okay, great.
It's just that simple.
Simple.
What are you offering on a purchase price? It might not be what they're asking, but in the hard market, it's probably, if not what they're asking, sometimes it's above what they're asking.
It's what the buyer wants to pay for.
Exactly.
It, right? Okay, and then closing costs. That's closing costs. I find a lot of, especially first-time home buyers, they save $10,000-$15,000 to buy a house, Brad, and they're shocked to learn that there are closing costs. What are closing costs?
Well, closing costs is going to be attorney fees. It can be HOA fees. Many things that are going to roll up into your closing costs.
Origination fees from the lender.
Yep.
Prepaid items.
Taxes.
Expirations.
Yeah. HOA dues, I think maybe Brad said that.
Yep. And all your closing cost standard is going to be paid by your buyer. So the reason that's in there is closing costs. It says seller contribution at closing. A lot of times when you're making an offer, if you wanted to be a very strong offer, it'd be 0. A buyer's going to pay it all.
And that's what happens in the buyer's market.
And that's what happens in a buyer's market. That's correct.
Wait, buyer's market or seller's
Seller's
market?
market.
Seller's market.
Seller's
Yeah,
market.
yeah.
That's right. But it is typical for the buyer to ask the seller to contribute to closing.
Okay. And then we're going to jump down here and come back. But earnest money. Let's talk about earnest money for a second. I think this is very confusing to people who are maybe buying their first or second house. They forget what earnest money is. I think I learned earnest money in real estate school. It was good faith money.
Well, it is good faith. It shows the interest of the buyer. Let's say in Georgia, industry standard is 1% of the purchase price. That's what you put down as earnest money. And in most instances, that works. When I represent a seller, sometimes we get an offer with much less than 1%, and I always counter back with at least 1% earnest money.
That's right.
So earnest money for the buyer, earnest money gets it counts as part of your down payment that you need to put on the house.
They get a credit for it at closing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. And earnest money can be held by whom? Who holds the earnest money? What different parties can hold the earnest money?
Well, when you have a buyer put an offer, the earnest money is going to be held by their broker as a standard.
Typically, the buyer's broker will hold it. But it doesn't mean that the listing broker can't hold it. Certainly could.
That's right.
Closing attorney
could hold it. Earnest money needs to be deposited into a trust account. It's a special type of bank account, basically. Right. Could the seller hold the earnest money?
If they had a trust account, right?
It could be.
But that's not safe.
Yeah, would not be good to do it that way. Yeah,
so the safest way is to have it with our brokerage.
Yeah,
correct. Because you're taking care of your client.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, and then so the holder of earnest money, and then it's important that we choose the correct closing attorney and law firm. There's lots of real estate closing attorneys in the Metro Atlanta area, tons of them actually. And but what's important about choosing a closing attorney?
Well, closing attorney plays a very important part in the whole closing process. They do the title search, they watch the whole process, they collect all the documents that they need for closing, and if attorney is really busy or just doesn't have the power to get it all organized and smooth, then there are issues at closing, even at closing.
Yeah, I was at a closing attorney one time where it was a Home Depot employee, which is great, but they had this service where they got really discounted fees on the closing attorney. That's all fine and well, but the problem is that guy was not a real closing attorney. It was
what?
He did tons of legal work, and closings were just part of his services.
Wow.
And so it was just a guy who hung out a shingle, Joe Schmo, attorney at law, and he might have had one or two admin people helping him out, but they do not they don't specialize in real estate closings. And so the closing had many, many issues, shouldn't have had those issues. And at the end of the day, my client, the guy with Home Depot, kind of wishes he didn't use that service that Home Depot had offered him simply because of all the headaches that were there.
And it was probably basic items.
He might have saved $200 or $300, but he went through. I bet you he went through $1,000 worth of headache.
Oh gosh,
for sure. So, but yeah, it's important that you use an established closing attorney that all they do is close loans. So things can pop up to them, right?
Absolutely. So your real estate agent should be able to recommend a closing attorney.
Yep. Okay.
Don't go with the cheapest. Do not go with the cheapest.
Oh, man. Yeah, no doubt.
Get what you pay for, right?
You do get what you pay for.
Sometimes you do.
Most of the time.
So inspection periods and due diligence periods on the contract, these are another important thing to talk about. The inspection period due diligence period is typically there to protect a buyer and give them what I call a free pass or a free look at the house, right? Right? Is that what?
Absolutely.
What
it gives you time to inspect the property, to do any kind of investigation on it that you'd like, and the fun thing about it is, for any reason within that time frame, you can get out of the contract.
Wait. So if I wake up with a cold the next day and I don't want to buy that house,
you call Oleg and he'll get you out.
Brad, if I wake up and my spouse is like, I don't think we should buy that house, we can get out of the contract and get our earnest money back?
During your, if you're doing a 10-day due diligence during that first 10 days, a headache, I get you out of it.
Anything.
Or cannonballs.
Cannonballs get you out of it.
Yep.
Live cannonballs, you're out.
There you go.
But that's right. But when you write a contract and you're doing the due diligence period, just protecting your client is you never want to go into a contract with a mindset like that.
Right.
You go into a contract with your 10 days. That's basically once you do your inspection. If you find something there that makes you want to back out, but other than that, you want to be rock solid.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing, the due diligence, like you said,
Right.
is to make sure that this is the one for you.
Yeah, if I'm going to buy your house, Oleg, and I find out it was built on an old landfill, I might back out.
You might.
And same thing. And this is kind of serious, guys. It's important, that you know who your neighbors are. It's important that you investigate the neighborhood. It's important that you, I think even in our Georgia real estate contract, we have links to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, so you can check things like child predators and stuff like that may live in the area. They have to disclose all that. I mean, I know that's very, very serious, and that's in due diligence is time to get that work done.
Absolutely.
So, okay, we're going to just kind of jump ahead and cover option money. Real simple. Option money is what, Oleg?
Well, option money is what you pay above and over the offer price, just so your offer looks more solid and more competitive than other offers.
More attractive.
So it's not the earnest money. Earnest money gets credited towards the buyer's down payment, but the option money goes to the seller no matter what.
Yeah, and the option money, like your earnest money, first 10 days, headache, whatever reason, you have the option of getting that back. Option money is off the table.
Yeah.
Day one.
It's gone.
You basically use that as a strategy to put yourself in front of everybody else.
Yep.
Absolutely.
If Brad's got 5 offers on his house, he's the seller. He's got 5 offers on his house. And I really want that house. I might say, hey, you know what? I'll put up $3,000 in option money if you work it out with us first.
And there are other ways to make your offer more attractive, but I don't think we'll cover that today.
Okay, that sounds great. Lead-based paint, we're just going to cover that real quick. They take it very seriously. The EPA gets involved, and Georgia Real Estate Commission. If anything built prior to 1978 needs to have a lead-based paint exhibit, or what, Brad? Is it possible to have lead-based paint in your house if you were built in year 2000?
Absolutely. Somebody could, let's just say, bring in a mantle from a home that was built in the 60s or 50s, or bring in a door that was brought in just the way they're designing the home. So therefore, you would have that lead-based paint exhibit at that point.
So if Fido, my dog, goes and starts chewing on the mantle and grows a 5th leg,
Yep.
There's a possibility it could be lead-based paint. You know what I'm saying?
Or many other things.
Right.
But
Such as?
well, that's another episode. It says prior to 1978, not built prior to 1978. So if you bring in that door and it's built, or your mantle is built prior to 1978, then you disclose it.
Yep.
But if you bring in that mantle, you don't know,
Yeah.
what year it's built. How can you?
Yeah.
But yeah, the key wording you just used is what you know.
Yeah, what you know.
Right?
1978.
And from a seller's perspective, a lawsuit could arise if your house was built in 2010 and you brought in an antique mantle from your grandma's house.
Yep.
If you don't disclose it. And if Fido starts chewing on that mantle and grows a 5th leg,
Well,
then
so be it.
I hope they just don't call us. Fido.
Oh gosh.
And then, of course, people need to be identified on how the agent is representing. You can be represented as a listing broker or selling broker. There's lots of different ways to be represented in this business. We're not going to cover that in this podcast. We certainly can cover it in a different one if there's interest. And then finally, material relationship. If Brad and I are brothers, and I'm the listing agent selling his house,
You have to disclose it.
We
You
got to
have to
disclose that
disclose
kind of. What if I'm an agent selling my own house?
You have to disclose
Yes.
it. You just
Okay.
need to put, owner, agent.
What if
or,
I'm an investor and I own the company and I'm also an agent?
Yes, you have to disclose that you're an agent. And,
So, yeah.
part of the contract.
Really important stuff. And then we're going to take we want to keep this podcast short, and so we're going to do it, and hopefully we don't get in an argument here. But time limit of offer. If we lined up 100 agents, what would they say the time limit of offer is?
They will say
Go.
that's when the offer expires.
That offer expires, like dies.
Like dice.
Okay, you think so? That's what 100 agents would say.
That's what I use to my advantage when I submit an offer. Yes.
Okay. What do you think, Brad? 100 agents. We ask them what time limit is.
Oleg, say that back again. You used to your advantage. So when you submit an offer and it's got tomorrow at 5 o'clock,
Yes.
must respond.
And I'm gonna call you, and as a seller, as a selling agent, I'm gonna say, well, as a listing agent, that's the correct term. I'm gonna tell you, hey, the offer expires tomorrow at 4 or 5. Please make sure that you respond to us by that time, or, we might have a second house available somewhere else that we can go to.
All right, so I'm going to disagree with everybody
Well.
here. Because here's my thing. I think it's a time limit of acceptance. That time limit is there not to get a response from somebody. It's time. That's the time that you have to accept that offer. So if I'm going to buy Brad's house and I put in a time limit of 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, Brad, if he's going to accept my offer, he needs to accept it by 5 o'clock, right?
Sure.
Yeah, for it to be valid.
Correct.
Agreed.
Right? And so, but the problem is everybody believes that that's some sort of deadline to respond back, and it's not true.
But if you accept that offer at 4:05, that's not going to be binding.
Oh, I know. If his deadline's 5 o'clock and I accept it
At 5:05.
At 5:05, right? Yeah. If the offer if it gets past the time limit of acceptance,
Right.
the offer dies.
Right.
But Brad doesn't have to respond to me.
But can't you still use
He
it to
could
your
call me a
advantage
bad
when
name
you're-
if he wanted to and say, I don't ever want to do business with you.
That's right.
He could look at my face and say, I don't want to do business with you if you want. No, he couldn't probably do that, but
Wow. Well, anyways,
Open a
it can
whole
be
other
used to your advantage when you're representing a buyer.
absolutely can be used as a negotiation tool. No
Yes.
doubt about it. But the time limit of offer is defined to be in that contract to basically say you have until 5 o'clock to accept the offer I've given you, or you don't have to do anything. Now, you can counter back. You can call me back at 6 o'clock and counter if you want to. But the offer officially dies at 5 o'clock on
At the
Friday.
time limit set.
Or whatever we put in
Right.
there. Right?
Right.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, that's it. I mean, we did this in 23 minutes,
Yes.
and I hope we kept people's attention. If you have any other contract questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach us through the Atlanta Real Estate Podcast. Go to atlantarealestatepodcast.com and reach out to us through the contact form there. We also have some other goodies on that site, guys. We have a neighborhood updates tool where people can go in. They just fill out their information about their neighborhood. Molly, who's, pretty cool. She's a nice lady on our team.
Nice gal.
Yeah, nice gal. And she will set you up on a subdivision search. It shows you when things come up for sale in your neighborhood, things go under contract, and things actually sell. So you will be the person in your neighborhood knowing the most about real estate if you allow Molly to do those neighborhood updates for you. And then
Doesn't cost anything.
Doesn't cost anything. And finally, if you don't have an agent and you need to find an agent, we network with the top producers all over the city of Atlanta. Yeah, we would love to help you if you're in our market area. But if not, we can find you somebody, anywhere south of the city, in town, whatever you're looking for. We've got those relationships available. And you just go to atlantarealestatepodcast.com, click on Agent Finder, and just fill out the information, and Molly will get back with them.
Nice.
Yeah. Anything else we need to talk about?
I think we're good.
That's it.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. Hey, guys, we need to know what people think about us, right?
Sure, that would be great.
Please go to iTunes and review us if you have iTunes. I don't think you could do it on Google Play, but if you're an iTunes person, go and give us a review. Let us know what you think. And if you have future podcast episodes that you'd like to know about, we want to know what you guys want. And that's it. We're out of here.
Take care, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.